enjoy the experience of a senior manager of the insurance industry, as I would be simply named. I'm working since '94 in CE. I guess I have seen everybody who works in CE out of Austria 100 times in the aeroplane. I'm since 2003 closely related to motor business. So I was, my job was to change in Vienna Insurance Group. This time it was Compensa Poland, from a simple 25 million euro minus company or market, something like a 45, 50 million euro profit. And the main reason at this time was motor insurance, heavily negative. So I have the job today to tell you something about innovation, but I want to make also clear and sure, without having a clear picture about the business itself, the knowledge about underwriting, pricing, the elements, the ingredients behind, technology alone will not solve your problems, if there are some. Now, yes, we are far the largest insurance company or group in this market, by far. There are so many vehicles in these 25 defined countries. About 9 million are insured with us. So a hell, nonetheless, it's still not enough, we believe. We still want to grow, but I will show you why we want to grow there. So nearby, each 10th client that you meet on the road somewhere in sea, or you meet him in Austria on the highway, is insured with us. This has also impact on our results. And yeah, you see also here a little bit figures about our group: 25,000 employees, about 60, 70,000 agents work for us, and roughly 9-point-something billion of euro premium, and profit is around 450 million. Now, motor is key for us. So if anybody believes CE markets do not, motor doesn't concern, is wrong. We have markets, they have between 40 minimum and 85 or 90% in the maximum motor business dependency. So without motor, no fun, no changing at all. And if we talk about profitability, and this counts at the end, then we have to see that so different markets next to each other. For example, we have never ever earned in Poland any money, any zloty, in the last 10 years, which see just 2013. The last 10 years, no profit. Even the biggest PZ2, somebody might know this company, has combined ratios the last 3 years of 106, 7, 10, 11% combined net. So real loss-making business. On the other hand, you can see that markets like Austrians, extremely solid. Not the pattern for all markets in the Western European countries. If you see Czech Republic, extremely profitable market. And if you look to the trends of 2017, something has really significantly changed. And it's not telematics, sorry, it's not anything else. It's, I think, the shareholders have wake up to the underwriters and the board members. If they don't change anything in their underwriting and pricing methodology, they might lose their jobs. I think this was the most crucial point there. And now you can see sharp changes in Poland, really profitable market now. But you see on the other hand trends, and this is these are the life cycles in our business. In the Czech Republic, still profitable business, but if you look to the new business, it is on 110 combined ratio net. So that means the future is defined differently. Thanks God, in these markets we have a very high retention of existing clients. Also, everybody should know that motor business in the C countries is, I would say, maximum 1-year contract, sometimes a 3 or 4, but usually it's much smaller. So what has changed? Prices in Poland, prices in the Baltics, for example. We have markets where we have defined prices, so our possibility to move to maneuver is very small. And we have rather sharp competition increasing in Czech Republic and in Slovakia. Now, if you see a bit, if you compare more two markets like the Polish and the Czech one, as I said, 2017, the picture has completely changed. So the one drops down to nearby 90 and the others are well above 110. Good question. There are many factors behind this. Now, believe it or not, you cannot compare CE with Western European markets in case of consumer behaviors. Consumer behaviors, I'm talking about retail as well as semi-corporate. There's a completely different behavior. The story is that we have millions of people that travel. If you see just on traveling to Croatia, Italy and Spain for holidays, it is 2.5 million people, going on average 1,500 kilometers through our countries in the Western European market, and have a certain pattern of claims behind. And if you look to the foreign claims in Europe, interesting, 13 to 14% of all these vehicles are registered in CE, and plenty of them are named trucks, but they are causing 43% of all the claims, so-called foreign claims. So this includes German and French, but it includes all the Czechs in Italy, or the Baltics usually in the UK and in the northern countries. Now, if we look to the claims, then we have dependency. And first of all, we see that the claims on average are not that much different between the countries, if you see. So it's 300 to 500 euro difference in Austria and in the CE countries. Again, here, this is not a question of technology to solve it. It's a question of understanding of business, of price selection, of price sensitivities, statistics, consequence, pure sales, so a couple of things. And you can see that the foreign claims are materially impacting the results in the countries, in the eastern countries. And Slovakia is mostly exposed, I can say, with 45%. We have companies in the Slovakian market, they have 60–65% of claims coming from abroad. Means they do not manage these claims. They're managed by companies that are present here. But the story is this average price of the premium doesn't fit to the average claim that we have there. The average claim in this Western European countries is around 10,000 euro, and locally is something what we have seen before, much less. In Austria, this is not a big problem. This is due to the people that drive. We have about 6 to 8 million that drive monthly out of the CE countries to a Western European country. And not just the newest trend is we have 2 million Ukrainian people, they go to European territory, nearby monthly. You can imagine what happens there. So Austria is here more protected. Simple, in one element, Austrians fly maybe more, but on the other hand, biggest number of transports are not in Austria, they are in Czech, in Slovakia, in Romania, in the Baltics and in Poland. Now, if you compare then per country, so pricing, frequency and average claim. So this gives you a clear indicator, again without having a much deeper analysis done, where we are. So you might see here in Czech Republic, we have quite low frequency. But the story is the price. And this price is declining. I've told you we have a problem in new business profitability there. Prices are declining. So there's very unhealthy competition running. Now, why the Czech market is that profitable? Because this doesn't fit to the profitability at all. The answer is simple. Czech Republic is a market after the freedom of the market, where prices were high and the companies built extreme high reserves. So if we look to any profitability of the markets, we have to see which markets show behind which kind of level of reserves. RBNS is an idea now. Czech market comes from 250, 300%, measured on 12 months gross premium earned. If you look to Austria, it's about 160. If you look today to Poland, There we have the highest one, 200-220%. Slovakia is 130. Romania is a little bit lower. Other countries are below 100. For example, Ukraine is 30%, so nothing. It means if you look to profitability, we have to see how much on the positive runoff we have from the last couple of years, and the Czech market has always benefited by 5 to 10 points on the positive runoff of the last years. This is why they went down from 250 to 170% on average whole market to something like 160. So they have 150% of premium used to support the results. This is possible as long as you have reserves, otherwise not. You can see the highest frequency is in Romania. Now the discussion what we have in Romania with authorities, and whoever is from Romania, I'm not going to blame anyone, the discussion is a little bit stupid one. Because at these indicators, you do not need anything else than a simple machine and calculate what is your loss ratio, considering 30% expenses. So you must add losses. This is why we increased, and I was 5 years working in Romania. We have increased prices drastically, then we get the cap. Helps nothing. Also interesting case, regulator is responsible for the financial solidity of an insurance company. I'm not going to name Solvency II. On the other hand, you say you cannot allow you more than whatever for a truck 800 euro. Independently, if this is driving in Romania or is driving in the UK. So, the regulatory environment is also something what we have to obey very much and have to keep in mind, because this is changing the profitability in the markets more than you can do by underwriting. And it got fast. This caps was introduced during a couple of weeks even. Yeah? Means you suffer minimum 1 or 2 years in order to solve it. Casco is different. In Casco we have very similar results. In Poland, you can see there was practically always profit. In Austria, a little bit different. In Austria, very profitable MTPL business. In MOD, we can see in the whole market kind of a supporting of MOD, of MTPL. So in total, motor business is very profitable in Austria. Romania, for example, is a market in Casco with about 60-65% loss ratio. 30% expenses added on, we make profit then. Yeah? Now, a very interesting story is, because we also have to exchange our experiences, and we do this much more often now than in the past, what is driving our results. And this has nothing to do with pricing, but is driving our average cost. In Austria, Czech, we usually take here the biggest countries, we have all the other ones. And you can see very interesting elements here. Maybe not wondering that labor cost in Austria is a driving element. But you can see in Romania, it is mainly spare parts. The reason is simple. They charge spare parts, usually original spare parts, and you have a low legal environment. You can say I can have luxury spare parts, and the insurance company has to pay. Even if you have, we have a lot of friendly garages, so partner garages, where we have agreements, but usually this is the case there. So driven by spare parts, I think there's a nice lobby behind. If you see this in Poland, also spare parts, it's not the lobby. There it is, we have 50 to 60% of the claims are settled out of garage, settled without any bill, based on expertises and so on, this is clear. These people find some friends and do it by themselves, so labor cost is there very small. This is why we have this situation. What does this mean now for us for the future? What can we expect in the next couple of years out of this picture? The spare part cost will not go down very much, but labor cost will increase. If you have an A8 in Austria, it's 200 euro per hour at the garage. If we have it now in, I take Polish, best example, it's maybe not even 100 euro. So, where labor costs are growing in the east part, so we can expect that the prices has to grow because of average claims will grow. Yeah, and if the average claims grow just by 20–30%, we will feel it very, very much. Now, spare parts, we have two elements in the CE countries. Euro, Czech crowns, Polish zloty, RON. So we have declining much more if you go to Ukraine. We have changing currencies or exchange rates, and this is influencing spare parts in the next couple of years as well. We have an additional element what you have to consider. In the future, we have much more leasing cars also on the retail market. And leasing cars give usually a clear advice to go to your garages, and then you have original spare parts, and then the bill is 20–40–50% higher. So here we have driving elements. In Casco, again, we have a very different picture. We have the highest frequency in Austria. We have extreme low one in Poland, in Czech Republic. Less than half, despite there are no deductibles. And believe it or not, these things go down. The simple reasons are that we have hundreds of kilometers more on highways. And the second thing, police is on the road. It was not before. So this is changing the environment for us. In Casco, we can usually make a nice profit. As I said, in Romania, nice profit. And practically everywhere, the biggest threat here is in Austria, then coming from the frequency. Now, there's the slogan, come to Poland, your stolen car is already there. This is not anymore the case. We have a big number of stolen cars in the Western European. Now, what this is to do with our countries? We don't have these big thefts in other countries. In Romania, it's zero. In Poland, it's not an issue. It is in Czech, it is in Austria, it is in Western countries. So there are two ways of thefts. First is SUVs, they go to somewhere Far East, and the second is more important, is for spare parts. They are dismantling the cars immediately and spare parts. You have huge numbers of spare part deliveries. You can have practically all colors of any type of cars. You can dismantle it and back, make photos of destroyed elements and back, and then you have a very nice business. So we get cheated here, in fact. This is a big, big business. I will come later on to tell you how we can avoid this in the future. So theft for us in the sea is not an issue. Now, if it comes to the question, technical results, motor, this is driven by pricing, but it's driven by also the average claims. Let me say one element on the cost side. We have mandatory business in MTPL, and grosso modo we have 30% expense ratios in the market. This is too high. This has also nothing to do with anything outside. I guess if anybody wants to increase competition, and what we are doing steadily, so we are dealing with expense ratios, with cost, with productivity, in order to have can maneuver more pricings for competition. So if you want to have in mind all motor pricing, 30% out, it's easier to save 10% there, so 3 points, and sometimes to catch 3 points in the on the average claims or on the claims ratio. Now we have, I'm responsible for the motor business in the group, so this is 2.34 billion of euro, and this 9 million of cars. And the question is how we can drive and steer to the right direction that the group's results is positively impacted out of the entire motor business. And there are a couple of elements we have discovered or decided on a kind of Agenda 2020 within our strategic planning. And there are some initiatives that go in order to support the lower loss ratios, like fraud, anti-fraud teams that we implemented. Second thing is closed file review. This is a permanent review on the methodologies of settling claims using certain technologies behind. Then, of course, we have to start on the very top, on pricing. And here we are in favor of advanced pricing tools, advanced analytics, and then we have to bundle this all together in a certain package of guidelines to find the right, how to say, elements between claims management and sales and underwriting. Because at the end of the day, we can have the perfect price, but we are not able to sell it. And this minimum we have shown in the last couple of years, we do in a very sensitive way, to be honest. Give an example. We have been in motor very successful in the years 2010, 11, 12, 13 even. And this was also in fleet and leasing business and trucks. We had a good run there. And then the competition started. 11% market share in motor, we had. Today we have 7. The reason is we went out practically totally from fleets, went away from leasing, very selective, and have reduced our trucks exposure extremely. And we can see the results have improved within 2 years perfectly. We lost, of course, market share. So the message here is, if you just go for market share, you can do this. You will have the bill in a second. Means if you don't do it with a certain cash flow underwriting like certain companies did in some countries. But otherwise you see the bill very fast. And then you will have to earn a lot of money otherwise in order to compensate this. Now, price sensitivity is today, I think, differently to be seen than in the past. In the past, you could play with prices. Yeah? And prices means you need a very sophisticated database and analysis of your data of the last 10 years, in all directions. And then you can have a certain pricing, then you have to see how you can marketing this. Now, in case of, in our concept, we go cycling-wise to the markets. So if we see certain markets tend to soften very, very much, we go out. There is no other choice. If you increase the price, you don't get it. I give an example. In Romania, we said we had to increase our prices in trucks because price was 600-700 euro. You need 2,500-3,000 euro, and for England 4,000. So we increased our prices to 2,000 euro. We still got trucks. We believe we cannot get anyone because some of the consumers wanted to be insured with a company that has a solid claims management. Yeah? But usually if you go with the prices like this, then you are very soon out. Difficulties to come sometimes back. Now, I can tell you, for example, our truck business, we have roughly 150,000 trucks. I'm talking about trucks above 12 tons. We believe the majority of them is running around Europe. And our price today is roughly closer to 2,000 than it was before 1,000. On 2,000 to 3,000 we are able to make profit. Baltics, for example. 3,500 average price, we make profit. Yeah? So you can make in all segments business, but you have to find the partnerships, not in this case of agreements, but you have to find other insurance companies that follow you. Otherwise you are losing. Now, if I come back to these measures what we have. So we said, let's work on claims, on underwriting tools, on cleverness in the combination. Now there are very clear statistics about whole Europe, about the question of how much is fraud impacting your results. Believe it or not, the biggest number of frauds in Europe are in England. So 7 to 8% of the claims in England are fraud. MTPL and MOT. Italy is about 5%, and in Austria, Germany is about 2.5–3%. Internationally, Europe average is 4%. So the aim is in our group, and we have implemented, in this case with McKinsey, a very intensive project over a couple of countries, Polish, Austrian started, Poland, in Romania, and Bulgaria now, in order to catch this 2 to 3% of the claims in motor. and 2-3% in claims overall gives you a nice impact on your combined ratio if you always deal with between 95 and 100%. And today, technical results count, not investment returns, because you know in Europe this is very, very low. And we have 4 elements defined and designed, where we have at first humans. You need humans. We have as a standardized processes in relying on our surveyors and our loss adjusters that they identify potential fraud. Detection rate 10-12%, and at the end all these filters what we have with this panels you have down 2.5 to 3% you should discover. We do this in Poland since in Austria we have done 2.5 years, 3 years ago. There is a majority of, you might not believe, of frauds come not in motors but come from property business. In these countries it is motors. So we have already discovered a couple of millions there in the meanwhile. Of course it takes certain time and the extreme workload behind in order to make handbooks, to train, you must train everybody who is involved in the whole chain of the claims handling. And then you can, today we have not involved foreign claims handlers, but even they do sometimes handling. But if we have 25% of our claims abroad, it's a must in the next couple of years to do this in the main countries, Italy, Germany, and France, and the UK. But then you have, and we have already changed our PIs in case of claims to get extreme large data, our ones. Usually have in the markets so-called guarantee fund data with access or motor department access, and then we share this and see where we can see common elements of, how to say, sometimes simply paying 2 companies the same claim, or in 3, 4. Nothing is checked today that much in these countries. Yeah? Then we are working on automized detection, that independently of what we're doing, humans or statistical analysis, we get automatically certain claims, so fraud patterns recorded. This is possible. And then, of course, the best would be fraud prevention, but this alone doesn't help. And it's not an action that we can start once and say it is implemented. It is a permanent iteration because the fraud methodologies are changing quite quickly. For us, I think the best reaction of the certain clients was that these clients or fraudulent claimants went away. So there's somewhere else today. So if there's no stringent way of anti-fraud managing in the market, then these people move from one to another one. Yeah? So this is something what I can just say, we are using here a lot of technology, so really huge database in order to catch the right things and wave them the money. So, this I cannot give you in the detail, yeah, because it's not allowed to give you here the details of how the handbook looks like, and also not more about process management and so on. But as I said, process clear, 4 steps, triage, finding, and then we have detectives, simple, that run there. Usually we have 10 to 15 people in the country. They're nothing else in fraud detection. Yeah? And these people have to be clean in some countries, also to say. Then we have the handbooks and the performance management. Now, closed file review. Even we have in quite many countries in the meanwhile, all the claims handling process electronic, supported with process management tools, but we have to work with a few hundred of people per country. And believe it or not, but you know it from maybe your companies, we do not get well-trained people. Insurance education in the C countries is not on the very top, not on the universities, not on other areas, so you have to do this core by yourself. And then we hire young people and train them. Now it means there's a certain leakage because of insurance claims handling is not a very easy job usually. If you can make it simple, you can say in Casco there's a claim, you go to the garage, here's the bill to be paid. You can do it then 99.9% with robots, possible. But then you need a nice shareholder. So we have to do, we are checking in this case, so 400 or 500 claims, closed claims, by best people we have in our claims teams. And they are reviewing. Usually the outcome of this is something like 20 or 30 initiatives, you might not believe. It's a big number of elements if you then have a lot of time with your best knowledge, review the file, and you can see what happened. The focus is here not on like a policy. You know, this is not an audit. Some people see it like this. These all are initiatives in order to improve the results, the processes. Again, how much we want to catch there? Between 2 to 4%. We are today at the level of 1.5%. So we are not at the end of this story. Now, another element is advanced analytics. But of course, these first two ones, anti-fraud, closed file review, there's always a link back to the underwriting. So this has to be very fastly linked back to the underwriting, to the sales, to the training. And if you have sales like we do in most of the countries to 99% on portals, without any papers, everything electronic, full price validation and so on, we can quickly exchange our prices or the, how to say, sensitivities on certain questions in our systems. So we have basically our motor business on the machines, and we can do price changes within 1 hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours. We do not need anybody from IT. This is done by our experts in actuaries in the product department. And nonetheless, we have to come to the right client. Now, the fraudulent client, we know we can skip. Then we have the clients where we have some doubts, we can skip. We have database, motor, this long-term statistics about claims, so bonus-malus statistics, this all is just a part. But advanced analytics goes very much to the detail. So we are structuring the car, the driver, the methodology, and so on, and the way of driving. Now, how much we have here technology also involved in case of do we use road pricing or do we use telematics? We have tested all these things. We have checked also in the European market telematics things. Sorry, I have to say this, we didn't find super examples. So with somebody who has 4 or 5 million clients, and you ask, how much better is your result in this case? The result is most probably the same. There's no big difference or nothing. The story is you need more of the market with having using these tools. So if you have even 5 million out of a 50 million market, it's just one segment, and you do not get how to say the correct segment, and you get some kind of negative selection. Today we don't have pricing models in order to say if you drive less, you pay less. It's easy to calculate, but we have to find somebody who pays the difference. Either the shareholder pays it, or anyone else. And this is today, I think, we have not found the right balance in any one of the companies till today. In supermarketing, it helps very much for us in case of driving abroad. As I have started in the beginning, we have millions of people driving abroad, because then the price is completely different if you go a mileage in Europe, or you go in Western Europe, or you go in the sea countries. Here it helps. Vans, trucks. If somebody uses this tool and he goes not to Italy and confirms not to Italy, we give him a discount. If he goes not to the UK, we give him a discount. If he goes there, he has to pay more. As we are using this tool, other ones not, what is the consequence? These clients, they go to Italy and to UK, do not go to us. For us, fine. For the entire industry on the longer end, that will be the problem. Yeah? I can give you another example. We have increased the prices in Romania again to this nearby 2,000 euros. Some of the companies changed, transport companies changed the trucks. Anyway, they have been once in Romania, never else, otherwise just in Western Europe. Came to Slovakia. Because Slovakia, the prices are still low. This goes very fast. And you never know how they do it. Because you get it within any kind of fleet that you have. You have just on the next day, they have some, more or less, they're very often the same companies. So they have got the cars in Romania running in Slovakia. As of tomorrow, you get 300 trucks more, and it's the same trucks what we have just waved away there. So how to catch this? Underwriting. Yeah? You have to get more knowledge about. Here also advanced analytics does not help to catch the clients, but it helps us really in case of trucks. We have a very clear database and the details where we not want to go. And as a consequence, we have changed certain prices. Now, we are using, we will use telematics. We have, as I said, tested it also ourselves quite clearly in Poland. The question is still the ownership of the data. The question is also still how far we can go in case of better offers in order to not destroy our results. As I said, we don't have the vis-a-vis in this case. Now, but these people sitting in the, I would say in the external box, and playing with data. Yeah? They're playing with this plenty of data and see what can I see, what is a pattern of something. Certain clients, certain areas, certain segments, behaviors of certain clients, certain let's say professionals. And then we have really discovered plenty of things, and I can give you one example where we had a serious problem. In the Baltics, if you work in the Baltics, you have in Latvia prices you do not believe, 60 euro, 70 euro for BMW 3. So this, if nobody has a claim, it's fine, but this is not the life there. So we have faced also negative results there, and we sent our team from the Czech market to the Baltics and said, okay, you have to analyze everything that we have. Thanks God there is, in the Baltic countries, we have extreme nice databases about vehicles, motor vehicle. And you have access there. Not everywhere we have this. And we have started roughly 1.5 years ago. And you can see here the prices, the risk premium that the predicted one, and the risk margins. Well, our risk margins did not cover cost at all. It covered commission. This is a market where you have aggregators to a high degree. So this is the nice internet platforms where you can join or not. We not do it very often in order to get the cheapest price. Because these are mono clients, single clients, they're not interested in anything else. And you can see how much we have changed our margins. Also the market came along a little bit in this market, but nonetheless today we make an MTBL profit in the Baltics. This was just nearby 1.5 years later. We're using the same now in Lithuania, where we have certain good results. And we're using this tool. It sounds simple here, but if we have 150 actuaries in our group, yeah, but if we know maybe 7 that are professional in this area, and they also are able to communicate to somebody how to sell this, then it's really a lot. So, but these people, and they travel around. And and this is technology, because it is database, it's computers, anything else, but you need the brain on the very top and the ability to catch the right segments, segmentation, and so on, otherwise it will not work. Now, it sounds very simple what we do. Because on the very top, we have a multi-brand strategy, so we have in most of the countries 2 or even 3 insurance companies competing in retail. Overall, our strategy is to grow, but not for any price. As I given before, the example, Poland, we said down. We had in Romania 30% market share, today we have 16, 50% lost. But we are happy about it, believe it or not. And we are growing now back, if it is possible. Our goal is to grow in the right segments, also in motor. And we have not analyzed just motor, we are analyzing clients. Also advanced analytics is not motor driven. It's motor driven, but it's not motor. Because the element is, we can find out of other behaviors of the client, also patterns for our pricing in motor. Take household, take health insurance. In health insurance we get brilliant ideas sometimes about behavior of the clients. Accident insurance. So we have a couple of other information that we have to share. We are not perfect, yeah? But we started also other elements to combine. Because at the end of the day, we want to have a motor insurance client, not as a solo. Solo motor insurance, MTPL, customer might be different, is price driven. And only price driven is no sustainability what we see. We see it only in case 4, 5, 6 years relationship to clients, and this is only possible with solo motor on a low price. Otherwise, you have reasonable pricing and good combination with other products, these clients will stay. So, our approach is to secure sales. So we do not go just for any price, so underwriter decides not alone. We have price committees in the countries, and these price committees decide, you have the advanced analytics there, you have the anti-fraud, you have the closed file review, you have the product manager, and they say, so, what do we do? 3% up, 5%, 10%, this segment, in the north, in the south. And they sit nearby twice a month now, and come to some conclusions. And the results are really promising because we are driving much better to the right segment. And the entire group makes, in the meanwhile, profit in motor. It was not always like this. Now, pricing and underwriting, here I said we are looking for clients as a whole. We are not going on a direct platform for competing on the price. Not our goal. We are not a niche player. Yeah, we are a major player in this market, and therefore we cannot just play in the niche of direct, would destroy all our sales. No go for us. Others can be. Yeah? So insofar we have to bear in mind not only non-life clients but also life clients. Important for us is claims management, but also cost management. Now I give you another example. We are managing in certain countries for 5% the entire business. 5% management cost, administration cost, that means IT, people, finance, all this nice infrastructure management what we have today from compliance and other things. 5%. How much you believe we need for claim settlement? Not 5. It's not 10, but it's closer to 10 than to 5. So we are fighting since years and bringing down the administration cost, and at the same time the claims handling cost at this level. So we are fighting in claims handling with fraud, foreign claims, because we have a lot of garages with other elements, but we're fighting also with claims handling. So the critical and the cleverness in motor means fine-tuning with all these elements, with all the ingredients. Yeah? So if you don't go for cash underwriting, once again to say this, then you can go for fast growing, lot of profit, and let's see what happens afterwards. So, and in claims we have this closed file review. We go for partnerships. We have a lot of partnerships there. They are all linked. We have very nice, the past it was difficult. Today we have all the links on platforms that you can connect with this garage and drive the clients. We've also established own assistants. Very successful global assistant in Czech Republic, in Poland. So, and here is technology the number one driving, because the client can see whenever he wants where the towing car is, when the towing car comes, he can connect to the towing car. He knows where the garage goes, he knows whatever, in order we can serve him pretty well. We believe that services like this allows us also to be above market price average. Our benchmark is market price average. First of all, as a market leader with 20 or 30% market share, sometimes we have to, because we are determining certain market. Otherwise, this is our goal. Now, having all these elements in mind, the question is how we do it. We do it not with plenty of people in Vienna, we do it with training of people in all these segments in the group. So we have project groups in all the countries, and we are sharing this within the countries. So the Czechs go to Baltics, the Polish go to Romania, the Romanian goes to Bulgaria, go to Moldova. So our advantage is that we are taking really high profit out of our knowledge, best knowledge what we have in certain countries. And this is, I think, the benefit of our group. We're having the size that we can do this, and we are supporting this. Now at the end, you might be, I think you get a little bit the pattern of motor business, how we do it. You can do everybody different, of course. We use technology to an extreme part wherever we are managing data. We are using technology everywhere where the sales can be the easiest way. Or we may have a closed sales process. So usually our sales process goes to these portals. There's no human big impact possible. Yeah? That means not that we are taking from salespeople whole the responsibility of it, but we support this agent that he has an easy selling, but selling under our own condition and not with discounts or other things what was possible there. So this field we have closed completely. Yeah, so motor, 100% of the things are managed by the portal. There are no people anymore behind. We are dealing with the motor policy directly to the general ledger system, and that's it. Yeah? Nothing behind. Some quality checks. Okay, internal audit, some checks, but basically this is fine. We have not finished this automatization in claims. We have robots newly in place. I've seen the first 10 of them also in our Polish project. We have their big digitalization project, 100 million of zloty. It sounds in Austria less, but it's 100 million zloty in Poland is a lot. About 150, 200 people do nothing and work on 16 digit projects. Yeah? And one is, for example, claims. We know that in claims, 30 to 40% are paid practically without any other influence. It just takes time because somebody sits in between and costs us 8% of the time and the money. So 30 to 40% will done completely automatic. I think this year we have 10, 50%, 30% then. At the end of the year we have the other one too with robotics. So this nice machine men and ladies with perfect voice. It's not easy to train them. We are using them in the call center. We have started a project with Accenture. It takes up to 3 months in order to have a certain business process fully to 95, 7% on the computer. Yeah? It's full response, so we have then 60, 70% on the machines, either anyway automatic or the robots work on that, and the remaining 30% will stay in professional hands because we cannot do anything else and put clever people there. So this is how we do it. If you have questions, I'm ready to answer you. If you did not get all the answers, I'm sorry. This is a question of time or experience. Thank you very much.